Idea Brew Studios presents All Indians Matter in depth.
Friends and comrades, the light has gone out of our lives and there is darkness everywhere.
Hello and welcome to All Indians Matter. I am Ashraf Engineer and this is part 3 of our conversation on Gandhi's assassination with Tushar Gandhi, great-grandson of the Mahatma and president of the Mahatma Gandhi Foundation. He is also the author of the book Let's Kill Gandhi, a chronicle of Gandhi's last days, the conspiracy, murder, investigations and trial. In part 2, we spoke about the people involved in Gandhi's killing. In this episode, we will discuss what the investigation into the assassination revealed and what happened during the trial. Tushar, what were the startling and suspicious investigation errors that led the trial judge to condemn the police?
Ashraf, you've opened a can of worms, because I don't know where...
This whole series of podcasts is a can of worms, I think.
I don't know where to start and where to end because there were so many anomalies. It's just absolutely unbelievable. The amount of bungling that happened in the 10 days from the 20th to the 30th. And it's so startling and so leading that I'm not astonished that the trial judge at the Red Fort trial, in his judgment, actually dictated a condemnation of the police in their inefficiencies and said that those inefficiencies were a major aspect in the success of the murder as much as the murderers themselves. So, in fact, Judge Atmacharan actually convicted the police in Gandhi murder. If you read it from that point of view, it implies that the judge was implicating the police inefficiency as one of the accused in Gandhi's murder. And it's just unbelievable how it happened, how it progressed. We can understand the lack of communication because we see that even today between jurisdictions or between different branches of the police or the law maintaining machinery, as it's known, that they don't speak to each other, they don't convey information to each other. But when it happens in one thing, one event, all these things happen together, it becomes very difficult to understand. You must also understand the fact that the government of the day was so rattled by what Judge Atmacharan had written in his judgment of the Gandhi murder trial at the Red Fort, that even though the Punjab High Court was only hearing the appeal of the convicted, in their judgment the government got them to state that they did not find the police guilty of inefficiency. They had no reason to do that. The appeal to them was only about the conviction and punishment to the accused. They were not retrying the whole trial. And yet, the 3 judges of the Punjab High Court, in their judgment, went out of their way to absolve the police because it was a necessity of that time, a political necessity of that time. But then come back to the Kapoor Commission, which really opened up the can of worms because it investigated all the police departments who were associated from the 20th to the 30th and pointed out flaw after flaw after flaw, and in their conclusion they have said very, very, very prominently that the police and their inefficiency was one of the cause of the murder being successful. Let's go in the chronology of things that happened. If we go in the chronology of things that happened, Madan Lal was arrested at the site of the bomb explosion because he was seen to be the one who ignited the bomb. It was a gun-cotton slab which he lit with the end of a cigarette. And why he was remembered by the lady Sulochana Devi was because she was shocked to see a man smoking a cigarette at the prayer meeting. It was taboo. And yet she saw Madan Lal take a lit cigarette and touch it to the fuse, and moments later the bomb exploding. And so she pointed out Madan Lal as the guy who exploded the bomb. Madan Lal was arrested right at that point of time, within minutes of the explosion of the bomb. and taken into police custody. And when he was frisked, a hand grenade was found in his coat pocket, and it was confiscated, and that was the first evidence in what at that time was the bomb attack case, and would then 10 days later turn into the murder case, the January 20th attempt, the failed attempt, the last failed attempt of the gang. And so the trail started from there. Madan Lal was intensely interrogated. Initially it was believed that it was an act of a disgruntled, angry refugee hothead. And so it wasn't, the interrogation wasn't that intense. It was just being carried out by the station officer, and Madan Lal was being questioned and things. But when the statements of Sulochana and the staff of Birla House who were involved in arresting Madan Lal, and the Air Force lieutenant and the district magistrate who had taken the statements of Madan Lal and who had frisked him and recovered the bomb and done all the processes, their statements were brought to the police notice, that they discovered that two of them, Chotu Ram, Bhur Singh, three of them, Chotu Ram, Bhur Singh and Sulochana, talked about accomplices of a group of people accompanying Madan Lal, seeing them arrive at Birla House together, seeing them converse with each other, seeing a few of them escaping after the bomb attack from there, noticing the car in which they had come and all that. That was when the police brass started realizing that there was a bigger conspiracy behind that. And then the top brass of the Delhi police started intense interrogation of Madan Lal. All the methods that were used at that time were put in use. Now, Madan Lal was tortured and made to talk. And within a couple of hours, Madan Lal started talking, started pointing out things. The one sentence that chilled the Delhi police was that frequently Madan Lal would keep taunting them, saying, "Wo fir aayega," which meant that he will come back again. He will come back again. And that was when, and combined with the testimonies of Sulochana Devi and Bhur Singh and Chotu Ram and them, they realized that this was not just a sole disgruntled refugee, this was a gang. And there were more members of this conspiracy, and there was a conspiracy. This was the first time that the notion of there existing a conspiracy came to be known to the police. And by that evening, Madan Lal started leading them to the places and the haunts of the gang. So they went to the Marina Hotel, room 40 was shown to them, and they were told that the gang leaders were staying there. And in the afternoon before the attack, the entire gang had assembled over there and gone to Birla House from there. And they discovered that there were two apparently false names in the hotel registry. And there was a bunch of laundry that had been given for washing, which was unclaimed when the leaders escaped after the attack, the failure of the attack. When they escaped in panic, they did not remember to collect the laundry. And so the bearer gave the laundry to the police. And the waiter who had witnessed smoke emanating from the room in the afternoon and a strange firecracker explosion sound when these guys were experimenting with lighting the fuse in the hotel room, had told the police about that. That was the time that they realized that there was a big group of them. And from that room, they discovered a press statement signed by the secretary of the Hindu Mahasabha in which he refuted that he had willingly participated, or when he signed the peace pledge of Gandhi, which made Gandhi give up his fast on 17th January. He was doing it on behalf of the Hindu Mahasabha. He was made to issue that kind of statement because the Hindu Mahasabha hotheads did not want to be associated with the peace pledge kind of thing. So that statement was also found in that room, pointing to the fact that there was an association with an organization of those who were being investigated as accused or conspirators in this conspiracy. This was within 2 hours of the attack. It wasn't 2 days or 2 months later, just 2 hours later, that these details were being told to the police. Very strange. I also was unaware of this fact. But recently I've got hold of a book that precedes my book on the murder of Bapu. And it's written by advocate, Delhi-based advocate, J.L. Gauba, who had written a book on the murder of Mahatma. It has a lot of unsubstantiated, the fashion of that day. My source told me so, and my source was Mr. X, and his source was Mr. Y. That kind of unsubstantiated. But in that, there is a chilling statement saying that in the Marina Hotel, the conspirators didn't occupy just one room, but room 39 was also given to them for their service, and that is where they were holding secret meetings with their associates and patrons in Delhi. Nobody knows about this. Nobody knows. Even in the police investigation, there is no clue about room 39. But Gauba claims that the owner of Marina Hotel, when he asked him that my source X told me that they were also occupying room, the murderers were in room 40, the owner said, अरे वो तो 39 में भी थे, वो भी उनके लिए ही था, पर किसी को पता नहीं था. They were occupying room 39 also. That was also at their service. They were occupying it, but nobody knew about it, and nobody told that to the police. So we got away scot-free. So the investigation started being compromised right there. It was not being done thoroughly. If Gauba's, revelations are to be believed, and they are unsubstantiated, because all his sources are, as I said, X, Y, Z kind of thing. So we don't know who said it. The only thing is he has named the owner of Marina Hotel.
Sure. But not only that, Tushar, Madanlal Pahwa, who was, as you said, one of the conspirators, actually mentioned a plan to kill Gandhi to a Professor Jain. And that professor went and told this to the Home Minister of Bombay State in those days, was Morarji Desai. And so tell us about this, exactly what happened, and then what did Morarji
I was
do?
just coming to that, because there's a progression on these bunglings, and we need to go according to that. On 21st January, the press widely reported the bomb attack on the prayer meeting at Delhi and the name of the bomber. Now, many a times, it's reported the bomb was hurled or a grenade was hurled and things. No bomb was hurled. A bomb was exploded. It was a kind of a IED, what we know as a IED today.
It's improvised explosive device.
Improvised explosive device. It was a gun cotton slab with a detonator and a fuse, and it was ignited. The fuse was ignited, and then it exploded on the wall behind Bapu. There's a photograph of that damaged wall, an extensive photograph. And in the Gandhi murder trial, an explosive expert was asked whether that bomb was lethal, and he said yes, it was lethal, and it could have killed a lot of people, and if they had used shrapnel, it would have killed and maimed a lot more, because it was a potent bomb. This was much in later. But on 21st, when this was reported in the press and the name of the bomber was revealed, Professor J.C. Jain, who was teaching in a college in Mumbai, suddenly remembered that, he knew Madan Lal. He knew Madan Lal Kashmiri Lal Pahwa, because as a refugee, Madan Lal had contacted him and sort of revered him as a father figure. And Jain gave him an occupation of selling the books that he wrote and published on a commission. And so Madan Lal was eking out a meager earning from that. And so they had an acquaintance. And what had happened was, suddenly Madan Lal came in touch with Karkare and decided to shift to Ahmednagar to work with Karkare. And so he left some accounts unsettled with Jain and left for Ahmednagar without informing Jain. But sometime in January, early January, Madan Lal came back to Mumbai, and he met Jain, and he started boasting about his exploits in Ahmednagar and with Karkare, and how Karkare had taken him to meet Savarkar, and how Savarkar had praised his activities in Ahmednagar, and how Savarkar had blessed him and told him to continue working for Karkare and for the cause, kind of thing. And then again in around the 12th of January, how Madan Lal turned up again at his home accompanied by Karkare and called him Karkara Seth and said he was the patron of the gang, and how they were part of a gang that was going to Delhi to carry out a mission to attack an eminent leader and explode a bomb, and how Madan Lal was going to be the one who exploded the bomb. And Jain, that time there were a lot of hotheads who used to make these kind of claims and things, particularly young ones who were brash. So Jain said, look, don't get involved in all these things, you're better off, you have your whole life, you'll ruin your life, kind of thing. And Madan Lal said, no. And he went away. Again, he comes back, this time alone, to meet Jain just before he's leaving. And at that time, one of Jain's friends, Angad Singh, who's an insurance agent, is also present at the meeting. And Madan Lal once again starts telling them about their plans in Delhi and all that. And Angad Singh claims that he walked out of that meeting halfway through. And then Madan Lal told Jain that the plan was to attack Gandhi's prayer meeting, and when he exploded the bomb, Gandhi would be murdered. And that was the mission that the gang was given. And so Jain was very annoyed. At least Jain claimed that he was very annoyed. And he admonished Madan Lal. And Madan Lal said, no, don't worry. I'll come back after the mission. I'll come back and meet you and things. And he left. Then Jain talked to Angad Singh. These are all claims by Jain. And he said, I talked to Angad Singh and he said, after you left, Madan Lal told me this, and what should we do? And Angad Singh said, these guys, hotheads, loudmouths. Who's going to kill Gandhi? Why would anybody kill Gandhi? Forget about it. Don't pay attention. And Jain said, I also agreed that this was just empty boasts. And so I kept quiet about it. But later on, Jain claims that he attempted to reach Jaiprakash Narayan, who was in Mumbai, to address a public meeting because Angad Singh was a socialist. And so Angad Singh told him that Jaiprakash Narayan is in town, and if you tell him about the information, he might be able to tell Sardar Patel and stop the plot. And Jain claims that he tried to approach Jaiprakash Narayan, but he couldn't reach him, and by the time he reached him, Jaiprakash was ready to leave, and he said, I'm sorry, I don't have the time, kind of thing. But I think it's afterthought. I don't think that could have happened because in those days, leaders were accessible. There was no security ring around them, and they were not being whisked away and things. But I think Jain was creating some stories of his own also. But when he read the news on 21st, he realized that they were not empty boasts, and that Madan Lal was not alone. He knew about his accomplice Karkare. And yet in the newspapers there was no news or mention about accomplices or conspirators or their arrests and things. And so Jain finally realized that the conspiracy could be still in motion. There could be still a threat. And so he decided that now he had to tell the authorities. So initially he wanted to inform the Chief Minister of the province, who was at that time known as the Prime Minister of the province, B.G. Kher, Bal Gangadhar Kher. And so he called him and asked for an appointment, and Kher told him that he was going out, but he should meet, Jain should meet Morarji Desai, and Kher fixed an appointment for Jain to meet Morarji Desai. So Jain is supposed to have met Morarji Desai at around 4 o'clock on the 21st. And he told him the entire story of what Madan Lal had told him and mentioned Karkare and the connection with Savarkar and all that. Now the curious part starts. Morarji Desai was known to be a very thorough disciplinarian. He was known to do everything by the book and by the letter in the book. He would not deviate at all. He was a strict disciplinarian, and the discipline started in his own conduct. Throughout his life, he was known to be that way. In other words, he was known to be a pain. But that was him. But uncharacteristic with him. When this meeting with Jain happened, he did not take note. He did not call his secretary or a steno to come in and take notes of Jain. He did not call the police and said, arrest this guy. Interrogate him. He's got vital information. As a home minister, the police were under him. And as a home minister, when such startling information was given with a precedence, it wasn't before the attack on Bapu. This was after the attack. The attack had happened, and Jain was giving information about the attack and who could be involved and what could be in motion. And yet Morarji decided that he did not need to inform the police. He did not need to get anybody to interrogate Jain to try and find out if he had more information. Jain tells him at the meeting, he says, look, I live in Shivaji Park, it's a Savarkarite neighborhood, and if they come to know that I have informed you about this, my life will be in danger, so please keep my identity, don't disclose my identity. Morarji Desai decides, yes, that is vital, we can't reveal his identity. So his Jain's identity is revealed to the police only after the murder. After Jain leaves his office, Morarji Desai calls Nagarwala, who is the head of the CID and the deputy commissioner of police in Mumbai, and asks him to come and meet him. And Nagarwala said, look, I'm busy, I'm not coming to meet him. Now, the Home Minister is the boss. He could have told him to, not be too stuck up and come and meet him immediately. But Morarji said, okay, I'm going to Ahmedabad in the evening. Why don't you come to the station? I just need to talk to you. Now, this might sound inconsequential, but it also makes it to Nagarwala that what the information being given to me is not vital. It's casual. I can take my time to go and meet my boss. I can talk to him. And what he tells me is fine. I just have to listen to it. So in the evening when Morarji Desai is leaving for Ahmedabad, Nagarwala goes to the railway station to meet him. And at that time, Morarji tells him that I've been informed that this bomb attack was not a standalone and that there's a conspiracy and there's somebody called Karkare of Ahmednagar and there is likelihood of the involvement of Savarkar. So why don't you investigate it and find out who all these are and try to find out the conspiracy. And he says also, I'm going to meet Sardar Patel at Ahmedabad. So I will inform him about this also, so that nationally also the police will be aware of this fact. And till the end, Morarji Desai keeps claiming that he informed Sardar Patel about what Jain had told him at Ahmedabad when they met. But surprisingly, back in Delhi, Sardar Patel does not confide this information to the investigating authority in Delhi, who is Sanjeevi, who is the head of the IB of police. He's the top cop in India at that point of time. And at the Kapoor Commission's inquiry, when Morarji Desai claims that he had informed Sardar Patel, Shankar, who was the private secretary of Sardar Patel, and Sardar Patel's daughter Maniba, who was the constant companion of Sardar Patel, both deny the fact that Morarji Desai told Sardar Patel. As a matter of fact, at the Kapoor Commission, Morarji and the two of them, they clash with each other.
Morarji Pai and Professor Jain.
Professor Jain also clashes with Morarji Desai, but also Maniba and Shankar clash with Morarji Desai because they contradict each other. So that we don't know whether Sardar Patel was aware of the fact or not. The fact is that if he was aware of the fact, he did not inform anybody back in Delhi.
Which would have been very unlikely.
Which would be very unlikely him. But there is, afterwards I will narrate another story which shows that there was a kind of lackadaisical approach all over in that. So Nagarwala is briefed. He is asked to investigate. यार देख लेना जरा थोड़ा कुछ ऐसा है यार देख लो. Like casual talk.
The warning signs were all there. What to do next was clear. Yet, somehow, the warnings were ignored and the next steps were bungled. There was a casual attitude towards the possibility of an attempt on Bapu's life. Had this been different, the conspirators might have been nabbed before they got to Delhi, and Godse may have never had a chance to pull the trigger. What you're suggesting is that the warning wasn't taken seriously
at all. The warning wasn't conveyed seriously enough. It was told in a very casual manner, and the recipient also said, yes, okay, I'll do it. Don't worry, leave it to me. Nagarwala claims that immediately he ordered surveillance on the Savarkar residence to see who comes and goes, because he said that, if there are accomplices and conspirators, they will definitely come back to Savarkar Sadan. So he says that he put 24-hour surveillance on Savarkar Sadan with a log maintained about who was seen coming and going. Even if that is true, whom would have Nagarwala told his policemen to watch out for? Because the only identity they had was Karkara Seth at that point of time of Ahmednagar. That's all they knew about it. So the investigation at Mumbai starts off lackadaisically. Now in Delhi, where the continuing interrogation of Madan Lal is happening, they start realizing about conspirators and accomplices and all that. They get hints at their identities. An editor of Hindu Rashtra and Agrani is supposed to be a leader of the group. That's what Madan Lal tells them. A Dadiwala, that's the first reference of Dadiwala. These days we hear about a lot of Dadiwalas, but that was the first historical reference of a Dadiwala. Arms dealer is revealed from Pune, is revealed. Karkara Seth of Ahmednagar is revealed. Now, that was Karkare, Vishnu Karkare. But to a Punjabi, it was, the pronunciation was Karkara because it was very close to Karara. So the Punjabi Madan Lal Pahwa refers to him as Karkara Seth. And so these were the identities that were alluded to in. And so Sanjeevi realizes that major part of the investigation will have to be done in Mumbai province, by the Mumbai province police and the Mumbai city police. And so Nagarwala is the guy to approach. And so he sends 2 policemen from Delhi with the initial report of Madan Lal's interrogation to brief Nagarwala. They come to Mumbai. Nagarwala has now already been briefed by Morarji. And he has also heard about the Karkare at that point of time. But for some strange reason, from that point of time when Morarji tells Nagarwala about the existence of the conspiracy and the gang and everything, Nagarwala decides that the conspiracy is not to murder Gandhi. The conspiracy is to abduct Gandhi and hold him hostage and force the government of India to take decisions that the abductors would want them to take. And so he refuses to believe that there is a murder plot underway. And he starts chasing this fantastic theory of kidnapping. And his theory is that there is a core group of 40 leaders, and each of the 40 leaders is supported by a committed band of 40 fanatics each who are doing this. And he starts investigating the refugees in and around Mumbai, the Punjabi refugee hotheads who they know. And so they start picking up people whom they want to investigate and putting them under surveillance. And Nagarwala keeps saying that I'm not going to arrest them individually, but when I have the entire conspiracy revealed, at one fell swoop, I'll arrest the whole gang. So they'll let things go. Now those 2 policemen come to Mumbai and they tell Nagarwala about what they have found out. And Nagarwala tells them, get out. You are Delhiwalas, what do you know? Mumbai, this is a Mumbai case, we are investigating it. Don't interfere in them. He orders them to be kept almost in prison in a hotel room with a guard on the room. He orders them not to move around in their vardi, in their uniforms, because otherwise suspects will get wind of the investigation and they'll go underground kind of thing. And on the 3rd day, he tells them, now you've wasted my time, you're bothering me, I don't want to see your faces, get out of here, go back to Delhi. The 2 policemen were senior policemen, not havaldars. They are senior, not constables, but senior policemen, officers, meekly accept Nagarwala's order and return to Delhi without obeying the order given by Sanjeevi, who has told them, after you brief Nagarwala, the clues seem to lead to Pune. So go to Pune and brief the Pune police also about this. Now, you must remember that although Bombay province was one, Nagarwala was in the Bombay city branch of the police in Pune. And the Pune police were Pune city police. So they were not under the Mumbai provincial police also. They would have been under the Mumbai provincial police, but they had a separate city identity also. And that's why Sanjeevi tells them, go to Pune. Tell the police officers over there to investigate also, because this could be linked to Pune. Because the arms trader, you remember, the Dadiwala is from Pune. But the 2 policemen are so intimidated by Nagarwala, they forget their order and they rush back to Delhi and complain to their superiors about how Nagarwala behaved. Ashraf, just day before yesterday, I got hold of a startling information in a document that was put before the Kapoor Commission also. It is a page out of the diary of these two policemen, which narrates their final meeting with Nagarwala. It is written in Urdu, in the Urdu script. Even when I wrote my book, I didn't bother to find out what was written in that. I said, okay, it's an exhibit. We know what it is. And so I just blindly narrated what was assumed was in the narrative. But while updating my book for the new edition, I requested my friend, who is an Urdu scholar, just on a lark, I sent her the image of the page and I said, can you please translate this for me? And what came back to me was startling. Because the page says that we met Nagarwala and we talked to him. We gave him the English translation of the information from Nagarwala. We told him that there was an editor of the Hindu Rashtra or Agrani in that. We told him about Karkara Seth. And then it makes the most startling revelation and says, we told him that a Raja Sahib was also involved in the conspiracy. And we requested him to arrest immediately all of them, the editor, the Raja Sahib and Karkare and everybody. Now, Nagarwala throughout his career denied that he was ever given any information. And he said that they gave me a Urdu document which none of us could read. So I'm guessing that it was this document.
It could have fallen through the cracks.
And yet, somebody is lying over here, Ashraf. Either the two policemen back in Delhi cooked up the whole thing to save their own hide, or Nagarwala to save his own hide. Because finally, after the murder, the one thing that the police were desperately doing was trying to save their bacon. Because they were in the fire. They themselves knew that they were in the fire. They knew all the omissions and commissions they had done. Now the funny part starts. It's a tragic thing, but let's put it in the humorous way.
It just gets curiouser and curiouser.
Curiouser and curiouser. Nagarwala knows about Karkare. He has been told that Karkare seems to be a principal conspirator or an accomplice of Madan Lal at least. He is from Ahmednagar. Investigate him. Arrest him. Just 10 days before the bomb attack on Bapu, on the recommendation of the Ahmednagar police, the Mumbai police has recommended arrest of Karkare to the Home Department. And just 10 days before this event, Morarji Desai, as the Home Minister, has signed the orders immediately ordering the arrest of Vishnu Karkare of Ahmednagar to the Mumbai police, which Nagarwala claims has been conveyed to the Ahmednagar police also. And so there is a direct connection. But Nagarwala and Morarji Desai, both at the Kapoor Commission, claim in some, that they forgot that they had signed an arrest warrant for Karkare just 10 days before. His role in the bomb attack on the Gandhi prayer meeting was revealed to them. But they don't put the two and two together. And it's not as if they were told, ek Karkare, dusra Karkare. They knew Karkare of Ahmednagar. And Nagarwala claims, I made immediate efforts to ask the Ahmednagar, make inquiries in Ahmednagar about Karkare. And you know who he asks? He is a senior policeman. He could have called the commissioner or the DCP or whoever was the senior police officer in Ahmednagar and said, hey, I want to know about Karkare, give me all the dope. You know who he asks? Nagarwala calls up his brother, who is the special executive magistrate, whatever the title was in that time, in Ahmednagar. And he says, hey, anybody know him, Karkare? I'm trying to find out about him. So that guy says, okay, I'll make inquiries. I know there is a Karkare over here. I'll make inquiries and let you know. And the next day he calls up and he says, forget about him. He's absconding. He's not here. We don't know. Nobody knows where he is. He's not been here 10 days. Nagarwala doesn't even react to that. There's a report that he's involved in Delhi. He's absconding from Ahmednagar. This is interesting. We need to investigate this. Now things get even more curious. In the Kapoor Commission's report, when they investigated the Ahmednagar police, when the news of Karkare, the attack on Bapu prayer meeting on the 20th is reported and Madan Lal Pahwa's name is revealed in that, an inspector of Ahmednagar police goes up to his DCP and says, I think that the Madan Lal we are looking for in Ahmednagar, who was closely associated with Karkare and who is an absconder because we have a warrant of arrest for him, is the same Madan Lal who has been arrested in the bomb attack. He's also Madan Lal Kashmiri Lal Pawa, and we are also looking for. And he was known to be an associate of Karkare. And you know what the senior policeman says? Don't be smart. Has anybody asked you for this information? He said, no, but this is what I know. He said, keep it to yourself. If anybody wants to know, they'll ask you. So, Madan Lal's association with Karkare is known to the Ahmednagar police because there is an arrest warrant for both of them preceding 20th January, when Karkare and Madan Lal absconded from Ahmednagar on being told that there was a warrant for their arrest by the Ahmednagar police. So another police officer tells the DCP, he says, I know Karkare, I was his patron, I set him up in business when he came to Ahmednagar. I know him very well, I always have my lunch in his restaurant in Ahmednagar. Karkare owned the Deccan Guest House in Ahmednagar, and there was a canteen in there where people went to eat. And so he said, every day when I went to eat there, on many occasions this Madan Lal Pawa was also over there, eating over there. So DCP says, why are you being a smartass? Who asked you all these questions? He said, nobody is asking. So they said, you tell them when you want, you're asked. You don't need to tell them all this. And he says, if you want to make investigations, go in your personal capacity and make investigations. Don't make it an official thing. So Ahmednagar police on their own decide that this is a trivial case here. We don't need to act on it. We don't need to inform anybody. They are being asked indirectly from Mumbai, from Delhi. They've been asked indirectly, but they don't want to show the initiative. The same inspector, the sub-inspector, finally decides that for his own curiosity, he needs to find out. So he goes to Pune because he knows that Narayan Apte is Karkare's associate, and if Karkare is involved in something, Narayan Apte is bound to be there. So he lands up at the Hindu Rashtra press, the Shivaji printing press from where Hindu Rashtra is published and printed. He lands up over there. He is told both Godse and Apte are not here, and Karkare has also not shown up over here. So he goes to Apte's house because he knows where Apte lives, and he knows that Apte is a close associate with Karkare. And he asks his wife very politely, he says, where's your husband? And she said, no, I don't know where he is, but I think he has gone to Nagpur to publish Savarkar's books. And from there he is going to go to Gwalior. That much I know, but I haven't heard from him for so many days. This is on 29th January 1948.
The eve of the successful murder attempt.
Oh. So the man says, okay, fine, I'm happy with this, I'm satisfied. Then he decides to go to Mumbai because Karkare's brother works as a mill hand in Mumbai. And he says, I'll find him. He'll definitely tell me where Karkare is. He doesn't tell Nagarwala that I've come from Ahmednagar. On his own, in his plain vardi, he walks around in the mill area in Gamdevi and Naigaon and those areas looking for Karkare's brother. When at 9:30 in the evening, he hears the report of Gandhi's murder. So he says, okay, now it doesn't matter. He goes back to Ahmednagar. What I'm alluding to is the police in Mumbai, the police in Delhi, the police in Ahmednagar had all the vital clues, but decided that they did not have to act on it. They did not have to convey that to their colleagues in the other branch. And it didn't matter. It wasn't a matter of importance. The most startling thing will happen now, where when his two inspectors come back from Mumbai and complain about Nagarwala, Sanjeevi tells them, okay, I'll deal with it, don't worry. And at that time, the superintendent of police of the Pune CID is in Delhi for some work, UH Rana. So Sanjeevi, who is his boss in rank, summons him and says, you rush back to Mumbai and carry Madan Lal's statement, this time along with its English translation and a much more detailed statement. And he says, you brief Nagarwala and then you go to Pune and carry out your own investigations because definitely there's a link in Pune. And he says, rush and act on this. Now, UH Rana decides, yes, Sanjeevi, this guy is, he panics. There's no need to rush. So he decides that although there is a flight he can catch to Mumbai, he decides that he's better off traveling by train. And since he is in Delhi, he remembers that he hasn't done the post-death rituals for the souls of his ancestors. So he said, now that I'm in Delhi, why don't I go to Allahabad and I'll do the rituals there. So he carries the vital information given by Sanjeevi, goes by train to Allahabad, spends a whole day at Prayagraj doing the rituals for his departed ancestors, not bothering about the importance of the assignment he's been given. Then catches a train from there and makes his way slowly to Mumbai, arriving in Mumbai on the afternoon of 27th January. And then he goes to Nagarwala's house, because Nagarwala is known for his generous hospitality. Everybody knows that you get the best of liquor and the best of food at Nagarwala's home. So he goes over there and they have drinks and they have dinner. And over dinner, Rana tells him, Sanjeevi has been talking about this. And Nagarwala says, that idiot, he doesn't even know what's happening. It's not a murder conspiracy, it's a kidnapping conspiracy. So Rana decides that the statement of Madan Lal that he is supposed to give to Nagarwala is not really important enough to be given to him. And he keeps it to himself. And they said, okay, let's talk to Sanjeevi. So they called Sanjeevi and Nagarwala said, don't worry, I'm about to expose the conspirators and the big conspiracy, and in a few days' time, I will arrest all of them, and then I will, if I act now, they will all go underground. So don't worry, leave it to me. And Sanjeevi says, okay, you're the boss. Now Sanjeevi is the top cop of India. And Nagarwala tells him that I'll send you the report of my investigations on your desk. And he does it very promptly. The report of his investigations is on Sanjeevi's desk on the morning of the 31st after the murder. So the one true thing that Nagarwala did was the report, the promised report. But that too was after the murder had happened. Now UH Rana decides to go to Pune.
This is after meeting Nagarwala on the 27th.
Yeah. 27th evening, by which time Godse, Apte and Karkare have already escaped from Mumbai on their way back to Delhi. And Godse and Apte are going to go to Gwalior to pick up the gun. But UH Rana finally arrives in Pune, and suddenly after his long journey he gets an attack of fever. So he bunks, doesn't go to office. Being the senior most officer in Pune, he doesn't even summon his subordinates and said, look, I can't come to the office today. I've got fever, but I have information. You guys better start investigating it. So he keeps the information to himself on 28th. On 29th, finally in the afternoon, he goes to the office and he asks for his favorite officers, and he's told that those have gone to the field work out of town, so they're not there. So he finally calls his assistant, but he calls him and he says, look, this is the information I've brought from Delhi. There's an editor of the Hindu Rashtra and Agrani, and there's an arms dealer. There's a publisher of the thing also. Rao Bahadur Guttu tells him, stop. Goes back to his office, brings back police dossiers, and he says, these are the men you're looking for. They have the police dossier on Badge, Nathuram Godse and Narayan Apte with their photographs, which is placed on UH Rana's desk on the evening of the 29th, early evening of the 29th. And he says, these are the men you're looking for, you've talked about.
This is almost exactly 24 hours before the actual murder.
Yes, 24 hours before the actual murder. And UH Rana decides, okay, this is fine, I know about it, but I don't need to inform anybody. So he doesn't inform Nagarwala, he doesn't inform Sanjeevi about the information he's got, and sits on it. And after the 30th, when the race to save their own hides happens, all this information is revealed. Kapoor Commission, while questioning UH Rana, says, why didn't you convey the information to your superiors when you knew they were wanting this information? Why didn't you do it? So he said, the telephone systems were very bad and the operators used to listen in to the conversations. So I didn't think that such important matter should be conveyed on the phone, so I didn't tell them. But there was an encrypted police communication system in place by that time, and UH Rana could have used that to send an encrypted message to his superiors. But he didn't do that either. As a responsible policeman, Kapoor Commission asked him, why didn't you send policemen from Pune who had this information, who were equipped with the photographs, to Delhi? If they were in Delhi on the 30th, they could have stopped these people. And he said, you see, Delhi police is a different department. I couldn't supersede them. They had to ask me to send policemen. I couldn't send policemen on my own. How could I do that? That was their jurisdiction. Suddenly he is very proper in his work. And everybody, all the policemen said, yes, that is police procedure. Now, how can we countervene that? So, 24 hours before the murder, the identity of Madan Lal's accomplices is known to the police with their photographs. Even if policemen of the Mumbai or Pune province were not sent to Delhi because Delhi police had not requested for it, at least their photographs could have been sent that look out for these people if you spot them. And the funny part of it is that the conspirators thought of this. They were afraid that they will be identified by policemen from Ahmednagar or Pune who will recognize them, and when they try to approach Birla House or enter Birla House, they'll arrest them. So on the day of the murder, on the 30th, all three of them try to make certain that they are not there. And they are emboldened by the fact that no known face is over there, so we are free to move around. And the irony of this whole thing is revealed after the murder, when Anna Sahib Gadgil, who's a minister in the Union Cabinet, reaches Birla House after knowing about Bapu's murder and asks, who's the murderer? They say, we don't know. We've locked him up in that room, but we don't know who he is, and he is not revealing his identity. And Anna Sahib Gadgil peeks into the room, and as soon as he sees the murder accused, he says, "Are Nathya, tu he kai kela? Hey Nathuram, what have you done?" And people drag him, Gadgil, and take him to Sardar Patel and Nehru and said, this guy knows the murderer. And he says, of course I know the murderer. He's from Pune. He's Nathya, Nathuram Godse. That is the time when the identity... And so what I'm alluding to is that it was a person from Pune who identified Nathuram. And yet the police, in all their wisdom, did not think that it was important to send somebody from Pune to Delhi to protect Bapu.
Thanks, Tushar. With that, we come to the end of part 3 of this All Indians Matter special series on Gandhi's assassination. Gandhi could have been saved, but the case was bungled at many stages. Obvious warnings went unheeded, and there are tantalizing clues that point to a certain callousness about the probe. What were they? And was there a political outcome of the investigation? We'll find out in part 4. In the meantime, please visit www.allindiansmatter.in. That's ALLINDIANSMATTER.in for more columns and audio podcasts. You can follow me on Twitter at Ashraf Engineer. That's ASHRAFENGINER. And All Indians Count. That's ALLINDIANSCOUNT. Search for the All Indians Matter page on Facebook. On Instagram, the handle is All Indians Matter. Write to me at editor@allindiansmatter.in. Catch you again soon.